think of.
Cool.
This week, everyone's place in the competition.
Build the coolest thing you can think of.
Cool.
Hangs by a thread.
Now remember, this also is an elimination. Do not hold back.
So can pigs fly.
Whoa. Oh, gosh.
Or penguins, for that matter. Who will keep it together?
Go big. Go big or go home.
That's no.
Who will fall to pieces?
This is just killing me.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to build it.
All new.
What an ad, you know, what an ad. What a way to start.
What was that?
Watching it.
I seriously, I've watched that ad a few times. I don't remember bawling my eyes out on that one. That must have been at the end. Either that or when I got really upset and kicked the Lego. I don't know. I don't remember. How's everybody doing? Hi, everyone. Welcome on. How are you all?
Good.
Yeah.
Yes,
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Is everyone enjoying the show?
Yes.
Nah.
No?
Okay, this sounds really, really vain.
Sure,
I
it's
really
really
wish
that-
I had a comb throughout the show now. Now that I've seen how my hair looks, it's mortifying. I really should be focusing on the Lego, though. Sorry. That's my only vain comment for tonight.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, it's the natural look, isn't it? You know, I hadn't noticed, but I'm going to go back and look now.
My hair looks a lot grayer than it normally does.
I don't think Glenn and Jake had hair problems.
Nope.
Just saying.
Just-
Just putting it out there. I'm not really confident that Glenn or Jake had hair problems.
No, but I don't usually see my head from that angle when they do the crane shot. I was like,
Oh, man. You know, that's all right.
It looks like I've been lying down all the time. It looks like I've just been the entire time not being filmed lying down.
Look, to be fair, I look at myself on the TV and I think, I'm sure I'm not that fat. Oh, am I that fat? Oh, my God. It's just a bit of a shock. I'm not going to lie. So it's a bit of a shock.
No, I think it makes you look. I think it makes everyone. I've been feeling very. I need to get to the gym.
I need to do more than that. I need to, I don't know, start doing crack or something. Smoking. I don't know. What is it that makes people lose weight in a hurry? The meth?
Not
yeah.
that. Please don't do
Yeah,
that.
Heroin addiction. No.
That we all should have done the splits in that last episode.
That would have been amazing.
Or
Oh, it's all about showing off.
did anybody else just go when that happened? You know, like,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I just love the fact that she challenged me to it. I'm like, no.
And you did-
No,
and you-
why did you think that was going
Not
to work?
enough alcohol under my belt for that sort of behavior.
well, being the fitness instructor that you are, you know, should have.
I should
Look,
have.
see, Slug Bikers agrees. You know, no one's looking at your hair; they're all looking at the Lego. Wang. Yeah,
I'm looking at my hair, to be fair.
yeah,
I'm
right.
looking at
Everyone's looking at it. Everyone's looking at it. 10 kilos. I think more like 20, 30, or 40. You know, it's a good excuse, but oh man, it's a bit of a tough one. It is a bit of a tough one. Oh man. Anyway,
No
welcome
one
on
knows
in,
what to
everyone.
say, though.
Welcome on in. What's a bad idea? Starting drugs? No, I've seen the mess that does. All right. Oh well then. So what are our? Let's start with Amy and Adam. What are your initial thoughts of like episode 1? Let's cast our minds back. Episode 1. How did you feel about that
You
one?
know what? I'm relieved. Like in terms of watching the episode.
Yeah, like compared to what happened at the studio, how do you sort of think the edit went for episode 1?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because you're taking a 16-hour build, squishing it into an hour. Yeah, I'm quite happy.
It was quite subdued. Like I'm sure we all had a bit more of a kind of camaraderie going, and it didn't really show that in that first episode. It didn't crank up until
It was a warm-up episode.
yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone remember standing around at the very end of that and discussing what was going to happen because of a certain time that was on the clock?
Yes.
Yeah. That does ring a bell.
I think so.
What was that? No, yeah.
It.
I've completely forgotten. What did the clock say?
Remind me.
I
I
didn't
know there
see
was
it.
something to do with the clock.
Am I sort of right in thinking that I don't know if we're going to get in trouble for talking about this in depth, but thinking that everybody was done with 10 minutes to spare.
We
And
weren't,
then-
though.
No, we were.
You
No,
weren't?
Not. Everybody else was.
No, we weren't because we were still
we weren't.
like we were
We were putting
faffing. We were like fiddling with water and stuff.
Oh, we had
That
ours.
actually
I'm
makes
sure we
me
had
more
ours in and we were standing
more
around with 10
nervous.
minutes to go.
No,
we're
we
frantically
No.
building. You look around and everybody else has already pushed theirs in. It's like, oh my god.
well, because I remember saying to Emily, "We've got to go. We've got to go. We've got to go. We've got to go." And then I feel
We did-
like we
had time on the banyan tree. We had time on the second one, and we
Yeah.
were sort of standing back, going, "Please don't run near it."
we were just like trying to, next person that ran past, we were going to just put a foot out and trip him.
Andrew and Georgie, thunder, thunder, thunder.
Yeah,
This one, I
we.
think I ran and got an extra crocodile
You did.
in the last 5 seconds.
And we were
So
fully,
it was one crocodile short.
fully clicked in to go for another crocodile.
You see, we were well in place with it 10 minutes to spare, and the countdown was 3, 2, 1, and it was me and Jono pushing our table and like, nah, that didn't happen.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
I've,
but they did-
I've always
yeah.
thought that about watching the show. That
Yeah.
they, you know,
Yeah, and you know there's no way because you watched the Australian one as well. You know that nobody's actually putting new parts on with 2 seconds to go.
I
Episode-
think, yeah,
Episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode 2 countdown with the flag was real because we couldn't get it to stay put. That was last second. We let it go and
Yeah.
hoped the hell that it stayed there.
Actually, we abandoned an Australian
yeah,
flag in the last 30
we
seconds.
had a flag
We couldn't put it on.
that I'd made, and I just couldn't attach it.
Yeah.
What they didn't show from our build was that in the last hour I was basically done, and so I decided, all right, what this model really needs is a helicopter flying an elephant in, and so
That would have been awesome.
it would have been awesome, and I managed to build a beam to go off the top of the observation tower and built a rotor that went round, and I started forming up a helicopter around it, but it was getting quite close to the end. I think there was like 20 minutes to go, and it's still, I needed to get the whole thing up there, and the prospect of messing around with the top of the tower or taking the observation platform down to fit it and then putting it back up and having the possibility of dropping it. Luckily, Glenn managed to talk me out of trying that. I just thought, no, it's not worth it. It would be so awesome, but I just don't want to have like a giant drop or something like that. It would just that would really suck.
Is that episode 1 or episode 2?
Yeah,
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that didn't make the cut to the TV, but it would have been awesome. I think if it committed to it earlier and built it on the tower as I was building the tower, then it would have been okay. But it was on the kind of like nice to have list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how have you guys? How have you found the feedback around the duck winning episode 1?
I just want to say that the spin-off article is my favorite article of all times. Of all time. I love it.
It's a great article.
What did it say?
It said we're a couple of mums who have what was it? We're just a couple of mums who have lost the kids and bred them to
Oh yeah, going crazy.
go by
Yeah.
ourselves, not have to clean up afterwards. Look, it's oh, you go.
I think it just depends on probably who you talk to. I mean, obviously, for us, people are like, they either love it or they hate it.
Yeah, that's what I think as well, because it's so radically different from all the others. People either love it and think it's amazing, or they think it's the worst. And
I think one of the things that they often say is the technical, when he's talking about the different aspects and he's talking about technical, but that it doesn't have any motors. It does have lights, but it doesn't have any motors. And so I think for a lot of people, it's like, well, the technic, and it's like, well, it's not technics, it's kind of technical skills.
Yeah.
So it's like those kind of, creating curves, also like creating things that no one's ever kind of seen before, like the fireworks, and kind of doing things that are a bit different technically.
And I often think with Lego that often the builds that look the most simplest are often extremely complicated builds in themselves. And so that's where I go with that, Rubber Duck, is when people are like, why did you do it like that? It's like, well, you make something round and look like it's inflatable when it's made out of plastic.
Yeah, I looked at that and I thought, I could not do that.
Yeah.
I had some interesting comments from people too. You know, like saying, looking at ours and going, oh, you should have won. I'm like, yeah, but you missed the part of the comments where we were told that our build was unfinished and had wires hanging out the back of it. Don't tell people that. You know, because of the editing, like not everybody's feedback was out there, and there's a lot more to be known about the builds.
Yeah, my comeback to it is because at first, you know, I'm going to be honest here, I was a bit taken aback when the duck won, but the reasons for it winning, when you actually look at it and analyze it, my favorite thing is the fact that 5 teams went very literal. One team went out of the box with something completely different to everybody else, and it stood out. And that's what Lego Masters is all about, right? Yeah. It's about putting it out there, trying different things, failing or succeeding, and you guys succeeded at it. So, you know, kudos to you for having the flair to go for something completely different.
We were a bit concerned.
Yeah, we were. Like, we didn't think, to be honest, we did not even, like, both that and the octopus, we did not think we were going to win because
neither did we, but you did. So, you know.
But we did.
But that's the thing, though, right? But that's why you won, because you went outside the box and you did something completely different to everybody else. So you've got to just stand up, take credit for what you did, and you should be really proud of what you built because it looked amazing. The octopus looked amazing on TV. It was impressive in the studio, but on TV, they got it down at the right angles and they made that thing pop, and it deserved the win.
Well, they got upset about that, didn't they? Because that's why they said we were never allowed to build anything else on that wasn't on a table ever again. Because
because it was
pain
huge.
in the neck.
It was hard work. Filming that scene was hard work for them.
But then, if
sorry,
you know,
sorry, TVNZ crew. Sorry, Screen Time crew.
That's their job, though, right? But the other thing too, like Glenn and Jake's build. Jake, your build, episode 3, Clarence. Talk us through the difficulties you had with the mechanics in that, because I don't think people can really appreciate just how difficult having those 2 mechanics in there were for you guys. Yeah, well, not for you because you're talented, but to actually make happen.
Yeah, so to make it happen, the head, one of the issues we had was the brick pit didn't have large turntables, only had little turntables, so we had to work around that in terms of moving a great big thing around, but only having a little tiny pivot point there with a relatively small gear on it. And so I get all that down, and that was working quite well. I was concerned about the weight because I didn't really know what the limit was of what the motor could do, but it worked out okay. We had to do some fine tuning though, because the way I had it set up originally created way too much friction. And so for the hero shots, we just added a couple of extra tiles, and it lifted his neck off his shoulders by just a tiny amount, and then suddenly it was smooth as silk. So so that wasn't too hard. The guitar was a lot harder. So what happened was I was like, okay, well, Glenn, you make a guitar any way you can, just leave space inside, and then I will make the octopus play it. And so Glenn did that. He did a beautiful acoustic guitar with curves in all the right places and a hole in the middle, and it was spot on, but it was quite fragile. So my challenge was to fit a spine into it from one end to the other while still, leaving a hole in the middle you could see through, and then putting the mechanism behind it. And I did all that, and then it needed space. So there's hands sliding up and down the frets, the neck, needed a great big rod connected to a spinny thing, eccentric cam. Yeah. And that all needed space. It needed quite a lot of space to get it to work and to get the slider to move quite a long way. So once I'd done all that, I had to make some sort of cradle that held everything apart, and so to give room for nothing to catch. And that was a tricky part. The guitar fell apart a few times. I had to adjust it because if that big spinny thing, anything got in its way, the whole thing would just blow apart. And I think that's possibly what actually happened to it after they finished shooting all the hero shots. So Glenn and I had to leave the studio and go to our interview just because scheduling got messed up. And and so we just hit go, and then we left, and they did their thing. and I think gradually some things started to work themselves loose, and then something caught, and then kapow. I've also heard that it got hit by a camera with a boom, and if that happened, well, then I'm totally blameless. I hope that is the true version of events, but I could also see a version of events where it spontaneously combusted.
I think we went into hero shots after you, and I'm pretty sure that's what we were told, was that the crane hit it.
The crew
maybe they're just being nice.
They got a little bit too close, but
well,
it was pretty epic nonetheless.
It was the moving parts were tricky, and then getting the drum we extended upwards a little bit, and so we had to make this belt of plates to go all around the outside so we could secure bits of drum skin flicking off in different directions, and then have something for the water to be pouring out of. And that was quite technical as well, and started coming apart when so I had to take the whole thing off and reinforce it and put it back on, and that was a little bit stressful.
Amy and Adam, how was your episode 3 build? We'll circle back to episode 2, I think, because we've kind of jumped forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was really happy with it at the time. I think it was one of my favorites, but
we were on a different page with that one. I didn't love the build, and I wasn't behind it for the whole thing, so I had a really, really hard time with that episode.
Which is amazing because you did all the best bits on that build.
Yeah, I think it was when I looked up and I saw how massive everybody else's build was, and ours was really we did larger than life insects, which we needed to get the message across, but it was still a tiny build by comparison.
Yeah, it's funny. It was so much more obvious to me when we saw the episode why it didn't do better. And it was because you look at it, and we had the lawnmower, and we did exactly what he told us not to do. We kind of finished the shape of the lawnmower, whereas ones that won just sort of went out from the object, whereas ours sort of it was very smaller and very close to the original object. So
it was beautiful.
Definitely would do that one. Yeah, I was really happy with it. I was actually more happy with that than the kangaroo, oddly enough.
So when you guys walked in, Emily and Sarah, when you guys walked into the studio on episode 3 and saw all the cut in half items, what was the one item you didn't want?
The car.
Oh, really? What was your one that you really wouldn't have wanted, Jake?
Actually, the car looked quite tricky to me as well, because I always think of something exploding out of another object that's kind of abstract, and the car was cut down its long axis, so you can't have something exploding forwards or blasting out behind it. It had to be alongside it, which makes it quite hard to have an impression of speed. But I don't know, we would have figured something out. I mean, maybe we could have built a completely different kind of car. There's a toy car on one side, and then there's a really amazing hot rod real car on the other side, or something like that. But
that's what Jono and I talked about. We talked about building an F1 race car on the other side of it, and having a character who was having a dream above his head about, driving an F1 race car. So the F1 race car was going to be the dream side, and then his real car was his little toy.
Yeah. Something like that. The idea of having the lawnmower cut down in the front, that immediately made me think of some sort of grass-eating monster, half monster, half machine thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's quite a lot easier because it's because of the way it was cut, at least conceptually. Yeah. But I really loved what Amy and Adam did with it.
So how much time did we have beforehand to pick? So I think this is a question for Amy and Adam, since your advantage was to choose first and then give everybody else theirs. So
I think we had about 1 minute to kind of wander around and start chatting.
We just
it wasn't really long.
It was so difficult. I would have preferred for anybody else to have the advantage. I would have liked for someone to have picked for me and just said, right, you're doing this. And then I would be like, right, come up with ideas.
Yeah.
Instead, you've got to first come up with ideas for all of them and then try to work out what's the best idea. Then go through and think, okay, really don't like Emily and Sarah, so what's the most difficult one for them? and then go through for the others as well. And it's just very, very difficult. All crammed into 1 minute. So in the end, it was very. There was quite a bit of randomness in there as well.
Yeah, so it all happened pretty quickly. We all walked through the garage door 6 times and then did the choosing things, and that's where you guys get told to choose. And I remember you turning around and asking, "Oh, can we talk about it for a minute?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." And it was literally a minute.
It was literally a minute. Yeah,
everybody.
Literally.
Yeah, and you never got the opportunity to talk to anybody and say, "Yeah, what would you like, bro?" You know, there was nothing like that. We were all kind of like throwing our voice hints sideways. But
I didn't hear any requests. If I'd have heard a not that, then that's what.
No, there was a fair bit of give Glenn the barbecue, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah, Glenn should have got the barbecue. The only one we didn't want was the lawnmower.
A bunch of Lego barbecues at home already.
He's got a dozen. He's got a dozen. Why would he need another one? But yeah, for us, the only one we didn't want was the lawnmower. And then you guys picked it yourselves, and Jono and I looked at each other and we're like, suckers.
I think
we're so glad you picked that.
Yeah, we're about 2 hours into the build, and Robin came over to us and he's like, interesting that you picked that, because when we were trying to work out what items we'd give you for a challenge, we thought no one's going to want that. And we were like, oh, what have you done?
He was pretty right.
To be honest, though, the reason we picked the lawnmower is I had an idea for the lawnmower, and in the time frame that we had, I couldn't come up with an idea for any of the others. Not an idea that I kind of liked.
Yeah.
I like how you say 2 hours into the build, and we were doing 2 hours into the build. I was out. I was gone. I was like, I was outside, almost going home.
Honestly, I cannot believe how good your build was in the end. The fact that you lost hours and still made something that amazing. It just felt like you were toying with us.
It was hard. That was a hard episode, man.
Comfortably do this. Let's just go down to the pub for a couple of hours, come back, knock something out, and it will still be better than this lot.
I don't want to do that again. Jake, if you had the choice of item, what one would you have chosen first up? If you had the choice of all of them.
Yeah, I think they actually, this didn't make it to air, but they asked us, and we said barbecue because of Glenn, of course, and yeah, I think we would have gone for that. But I was really happy with the snare drum. So cheers, Adam and Amy. that was really good, because then for the first minute we're like, oh, what are we going to do with that? And then it was like, oh, hold on, music, like
so
music.
It's music, so how do you make it not music? But you don't have to. So.
You double down on music. I mean, and we've seen that in the other, like Australia season 1 with the violin. That worked out quite nicely. Yeah.
Em and Sarah, what would you have chosen if you'd got the choice? You can choose individually or as a team. I don't mind.
I'm trying to remember what we said. You wanted the what?
Lawnmower.
You wanted the lawnmower.
You wanted the lawnmower. Wow. What were you going to do with it?
About the drum in the globe.
We talked about the globe, but we said the lawnmower is what you were told to run for.
Okay.
Oh, right. Because I did all the running.
Interesting segue into the globe. So if you had have chosen the globe, what was your idea for that?
Well, we sort of talked about...
Sorry, go. No, you say.
Well, you're doing this, and I'm thinking it was something to do with colliding, wasn't it? It was like two.
We have a Jono and Dan situation over here.
Is that right? I can't remember. My brain's not that good at remembering.
We had things like aliens, and it exploded like in space, and like things coming down and in, and like almost the opposite way. But I quite wanted the lawnmower because I wanted a grass monster. Because here we have a terrible problem with Twitch. So I was imagining this Twitch monster, you know, this invading grass monster, like coming out and taking control of the lawnmower. So coming right up. So, and I was like, so basically effectively what I did with the octopus, but with a lawnmower instead.
Okay. You're confusing half the people in chat right now because half of them are like, Twitch? What? We're on Twitch. What are you talking about?
Oh, I see.
Twitch,
Oh, no.
Twitch is a grass, right?
Twitch is a grass in
Right,
New Zealand.
yeah.
That's invasive.
Right. Okay, cool. Because you had me confused for a minute too. I'm like, okay. All
You should
good.
see our lawn. It's got all big patches. We've put the Roundup on from where we're getting rid of it.
Roundup.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Somebody asked a question, was that where Smudge turned up in episode 3? Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Where's Smudge? Can we say hi to Smudge? Smudge!
She's out. She's out in the lounge where it's warm. We should be sitting by the heater.
We miss Smudge.
Anyway, I'm trying to wangle to bring her down to Christchurch, but Erin's cousin's place has cats, and I haven't had the I haven't been able to ask yet, but I would like to bring her down to Christchurch if possible.
We've got no pets anymore.
But we'll have to see.
We've got a dog. Come play with our dog.
She might have to come and stay at your place. Oh, here she is. Smudge.
Smudge.
She was by the heater, eh? Smudge. Come on. Up. Come on.
Yes, she is. Hello, Smudge.
Let's go.
She is.
What are you looking at?
Jelly now.
Looking at the door.
I love how she poses. Like she's like.
Well, yeah, she's looking at the door.
My exciting.
She's spoiled. She's still just loving life, doing her thing.
Did she got her Lego? I didn't see. Did she have her Lego Masters thing on?
No, it's hanging on the wall. I've got Erin got a portrait done of Smudge last year, I think, for my birthday, and it's just on the wall in my Lego room over there. And I've got those, you know, those Lego the wall hangers, the 1x1 round studs, and there's different. So look at this. Look at the face on that cat, would you? That cat looks like he's just like constantly pissed off at life.
He just looks. He's the baby. He's her baby. Like
that is funny.
You must realize this.
That is funny. Just find it difficult.
Hello. Smudge is like, give me that cat.
Like I grab one of the soft toys or something.
My dog comes up to my waist. I don't think I'll be cranking him on my lap.
Cool. I'll put that comment up real quick.
Next to your Lego.
Sorry, it's going to cut you guys' faces off. But Gav Invis makes a point here, right? And the point is, it's like trying to make a decision based on what you see on TV in literally a few seconds compared to spending 16 hours building and watching. And you got to remember, like, the crew and the judge and host and everybody are watching the footage from all of the cameras and listening all day long around different places in the studio. So this is something that a lot of people probably don't know about the Smudge situation. So I did have to post about this the other day. So I'm just going to take a minute. Because people were blaming the crew, the producers, for not having Smudge there in the first place. So to clarify, in New Zealand, we don't have the ability to get certified emotional support dogs. You can only have certified disability assist dogs. And so Smudge has never been certified for anything. So she doesn't have right of access. And I didn't actually tell the production about it prior to going to Lego Masters. I genuinely thought that just because I love Lego so much and I'm so passionate about Lego, and I knew Glenn and Jake were going to be there, and I actually knew we were all going to be in the same house together, and I've known those guys for 5 years. I actually genuinely thought I'll be okay. I'll be comfortable enough. I don't think it'll be that bad, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was wrong. And I didn't realize that it was going to be so hard. Not from the Lego Master side was hard and stressful, but I didn't realize it was going to be so hard being away from home, being away from Smudge, and being away from Erin. So I learned a lot about myself as well, about separation anxiety. So the thing is, on that day where I was having just a complete emotional breakdown, there's actually another friend, Colin, who runs Auckland Lego User Group, who was watching from the control room, who had cottoned on to the fact that he thought that I was deteriorating mental health wise, and that he called that I was going to lose it. But he didn't say those words. That's my words. And he said to Tony about the fact that I had a support dog. And it's not really a support dog. It's a skilled companion because she's not certifiable. And so when I left, Tony came out and we were talking, and I did mention Smudge, and he said, oh, Colin had talked to me about that. So they were well aware of that before even I was, that was what was going on, or they saw me breaking down before I knew it myself. And then, so obviously the rest of the cast came out when we had a lunch break, and I remember talking to the cast and asking everybody if it was okay, if they were okay with having Smudge around. And of course, there was no hesitation. And from what I understand, Tony told me that he also asked you guys in private as well when I wasn't there, just to make sure.
In case we're just being polite to your face, we're going
to
extra reason.
Yeah. So I understand. Still, no one said no.
Yeah.
And so that was
an emphatic yes from everyone, I think.
Yeah.
That was when the decision was to bring Smudge up. I suggested that we just have her at the house. They wanted her on TV. They wanted the story. And so then I came back, and my deal was that she wasn't allowed on the set for judging or eliminations. So she'd come in for the intros and just hang around while we were building, and nothing else. And that's how that came about. So it was on me, not really thinking about how I would be affected being away from home. That was most definitely not on the production company at all. That was all on me. And they did everything to help us throughout. And it wasn't just me. They looked after everybody, and they really did care. So
yeah.
I can vouch for that, in that I've got a blood sorter, and they organised for me to go and have blood tests whenever I needed them, and they were so good at that sort of stuff. Like, they really did want us to be okay, because that's when you're going to do your best builds, is when you're healthy and you're okay. So totally vouch for them and that sort of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So our health and well-being and mental health was definitely a priority of theirs. And it's a stressful situation. At the end of the day, it's meant to be stressful because that's what makes TV. They're there to make TV, right? If we had 20 hours to do, a build and we had nice cushy times to do it, so, wouldn't be pressure. You wouldn't work as hard. Because that was one thing that I found, and I knew this was going to happen before going, because I remember talking to you guys about it on day one, that the clock was not going to be on the wall, and we weren't allowed to wear watches or have phones on us, so we didn't really have an ability to keep track of the time. So you had to keep working at pace.
And then they all disappeared.
Yeah, on first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not having that time made you work faster and harder, because you never knew how long you had left. So
yeah, it was difficult to plan out and say, I'm going to do this after the first hour. Got to the point where you'd like, okay, we haven't had a 3-hour warning, but they might not one. And then you work out that they haven't, because you get the 2-hour warning, and you're like, I was thinking that I've got, at least 3 hours left, because we haven't had that warning.
Yeah.
They don't give them at the same intervals in every episode.
So we just started working break to break, really, eh?
Yeah. And then they
it's a
originally
Liam.
Oh, hey, Liam.
Yay!
Hey.
You're about
Right,
right.
Just stop talking about him. Okay, so thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.
Oh, rough.
How are you, mate? How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad.
It's a nice pirate ship you've got there in the background. Did you take that from the set?
Just admiring that, yeah. Love it.
I wish. Can I turn my screen around?
No, that's right. I remember seeing you walking out without it.
Yeah, that's the one. So I took some inspiration from my one on the show. So it's sort of coming along, but
Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's very nice.
it's a fair bit bigger than that one, but we'll get there.
And is this going to be a Christchurch brick show? Is it going to feature down there?
No, it's a bit ambitious now. This will be Auckland Brick Show.
All right, fair enough.
So the plan is the whole table with my build. So I'm building the
Oh, wow.
silent Mary at the moment for a bit of wreckage around it. So
That is correct. We were not allowed to wear watches, and we weren't allowed to have our phones, and we had no way of telling the time.
And counting our
Yeah.
steps.
But the main reason for not having watches was continuity.
Continuity, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously time going backwards and forwards. If people were really that observant, it's quite a little bit hard to believe.
Yeah.
And and
I noticed that
presumably-
Brickman wears one.
Yes, and Hamish. And I
Yeah.
keep trying to look and see what's the time. I'm looking for the continuity errors because we know.
Yeah, it is interesting watching the show though, and you pick up on hang on a minute, that happened right at the very end, and they've put it right at the very beginning, and you're like, no, that's not how that went down. Damn you editors. Damn you editors.
Oh dear.
Man. Liam, so we've all sort of talked through our EP 1 and 3 builds, but we haven't actually circled back to 2 yet. But how are you finding it watching the show back on tally, and how are you feeling at the moment with things?
I'm pretty good. I like it's even cooler now. I mean, like, obviously it's gutting that we're out, but at the same time, it's so much cooler now because now I just get to watch it all unfold, which I think is awesome. Quite exciting.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are gutted that you guys got sent home on that boat, man. That ship was an amazing build. I've had people comment from overseas Lego Masters that have said that it was up there with a finals build.
Well, I mean,
tough.
I mean, it's rough, but at the end of the day, it was Robin's decision, and I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we didn't take it negatively; we took it in our stride. Like, we're happy with the build, so how can you be unhappy about going home on something you're really proud of? So I think that's the most important thing about it.
Yep.
Like, if we built something that we weren't overly happy with and went home on it, I think would be a bit negative. But because we're so happy with it, sweet as.
Yeah. And it was a fantastic build. That was a tough day, eh? That was a tough day for everybody.
We're all so equally placed. It was really hard for anybody to tell what was going to happen.
Yeah. The tension of us all waiting in the brick pit and hiding the camera, that was
yeah.
And another sorry, go Sarah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it just reminded me we were all in the brick pit, and it was hot, and we were all just sitting there, and like it was very quiet, which is unusual for us as a group, and we all just sort of were in our own wee spaces and
playing with the minifigures as well.
Liam made the angel, the guardian.
That's right, and that stayed there.
I thought that was super cool when I saw on the advert that was filmed obviously way later, but it was still up there on the shelf in the corner. I thought that was pretty cool.
And another thing that people comment on a lot is, and I've seen it a lot with Australia, with Ryan getting upset when people get eliminated, and Robin had a bit of a quiver there when you guys got eliminated.
Yeah.
And they didn't particularly show a lot of what happened immediately after, and there was big group hugs and there was a discussion with people, and I don't think there was too many dry eyes there. And
No.
I think it's important to sort of, it's not there, like it's only one day on TV, but for us it's 2 weeks of really, or 2 and a bit weeks at that stage, right? Of really intense long days, sharing everything, and you do get to know these people, all these people here, and you do get attached, and that attachment was pretty quick. So that reaction and the upset and the empathy and the sympathy and the crying it's genuine. It is genuine. It's real.
Like going back through the photos that we got sent from the camera crew, it was pretty brutal.
It was brutal.
We're reliving it all again, like all the emotions that we all had, and it was so weird how I never really thought it would hit me that much until we were there on the day. And then I think what really got me, I was fine until I turned and I looked at Georgie, and then when she had tears in her eyes, it just broke me out.
Yeah. It was difficult.
It only takes one person to crack, and then everybody's.
It was. But I think the best thing out of it is, like, we all still talk to each other, and for anyone who doesn't know, I think all 12 of us are going to be in Christchurch at Christchurch Brick Show.
Oh, that's going to be so cool.
It's going to be dope, man. It's going to be a full show reunion at Christchurch. It's going to be awesome.
And we get Robin for one of the 2 days.
And Grumpy Cat. Oh, Robin's going to be there too.
I don't know if I'll still make an appearance at the Brick Show, Willie.
Who, Rob? We need to talk to Di then. We could get Di down there as well. We could do like a mini episode while we're there. That'd be sick.
But I didn't think there's any special treatment.
No, that was that was the Hamlug message, wasn't it? Hey, yeah, everyone come to the Hamilton show. No special treatment for Lego Masters.
That's right.
Don't get above your grade there, people. Calm down. This is New Zealand.
All right. Okay. So who has been out in public and had a complete rando come up and talk to you about Lego Masters, or ask you if were you on the TV?
Well, I work in a gym, so I'm around randos. I'm around people all the time, and so I've had one person come up in my class, and she's like, "You've got a doppelganger," and I'm like, "Have I?" And she goes, "Yeah, we're on Lego Masters." No, that's me. And she's like, "Oh, I was like, yeah, that's me." And then I had another person come up to me, and they're like, "Oh, we were at Laser Strike the other day for my son's birthday, and there was all these girls there, woo!" And they were like, and you could hear them, and they were like, "That's that girl, she's on Lego Masters. That's that girl, she's on Lego." So, and then I shot them with my laser gun thingy.
As you do. No special treatment. Stand still. Liam, have you had an encounter where you've been recognised?
Yeah, well, I went up to the
Brick Kiwi said
world
hi
record the other day. Yeah, at the Britomart train station for the most carriers on a Lego train, and I caught up. Brick Kiwi, there we go. Actually caught up with him there. We had a good chat. It was really cool. So yeah, caught up with him there, and caught up with Robin, Richard, and David from Brickset. He was there, so it was really cool. It was a really nice day.
They look cool.
You're hanging out with all those Lego people. Surely someone's going to recognise you from Lego Masters,
Yeah, I mean, it was the right environment for it, that's for sure.
It sure was. And that record was set by a kid called Alex Blong, and the record was held by Lego themselves, just 60-something carriages, 60, I think, 62. Wow. And Alex had, 101?
Oh, wow. Oh, whoa, that's a picture.
Yeah, something like that, 101, 108, something like that.
Yeah, so he didn't just break it, he absolutely smashed it to pieces, yeah.
101.
The train was like 25 metres long.
Yeah, and it all had to be, and it had to move 10 metres under its own power. And yeah, so he did well, that kid. I've known Alex for quite a while, actually. I've had lots of long discussions with Alex. He he is one really driven kid. When he gets an idea to do something, he is a driven kid.
How old
He
is
will
he?
succeed. He's only early teens or maybe mid-teens now. I think I've known him since he was about 12 or 13.
Wow.
And he must be sort of 15 now-ish, something like that. But he's a very motivated kid, very smart too, very smart. Who sent the message? Who sent what message? What are we talking about here? Okay, so circling back to episode 2, the Smash episode. What were your highs and lows of that one? We'll start at the top circle. Amy and Adam.
Oh man.
So we were actually very lucky in the edit that they cut out Adam having a mental breakdown over the build, because putting those legs, the kangaroo's legs, on the angles that they were on,
so much of
Nightmare,
that was it was so difficult. It went so wrong. It was hours and hours working on the same thing, so it just ground you down. And by the end of it, at the end of it, I wasn't happy with it. I looked at it, and when it's your own thing, you see the flaws, and they just were glaring at me. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is, if this was an elimination, we'd be going home kind of thing. I was really not happy with it.
Yeah. And I had a hard time with that build too, because the kangaroo took Adam 95% of the time. So I built literally everything else.
And it was so difficult for me, because I'm looking around going, that looks like a lot of fun. But I'm sitting here, sculpting some budgie smugglers. Actually, admittedly, that bit was pretty fun.
There was a lot of talk about the budgie smugglers and getting
I
that
spent a lot of time
just
on that
right.
bulge. It was handcrafted.
That, to be fair though, like the whole kangaroo, where that hit in the budgie smugglers was so deserved of the win. I don't think it really would have mattered anything else. Everyone else's could have gone perfectly. The kangaroo got smacked in the balls. It was going to win. It had to. If it didn't win, there would have been a riot. Simple.
That wasn't our plan, because we had the 30 centimeters above the table. That was meant to hit him right in the stomach.
Yeah. And then
How?
He looked at the final build and went, right, we're just lowering that.
Yeah, I was going to say, how could you not think? Like, he's sitting there with his legs spread, with his budgies right there, and you're like, that's the spot. That's the spot. You did present the target, and you got him right in the bollocks. That was brilliant. The other thing that I really, really loved about your build was all the little stories in and around it, and particularly the cricket ball with a piece of sandpaper. And I'm really glad that they put that in the edit with your description.
Yeah. No, I'm glad they got those little jokes in there, like the shrimp on the barbie, because that was all the stuff I was doing. Adam did the big showpiece, and I'm going, okay, what else can we have a dig at in the corner here?
Yeah, that was a tough one. Em and Sarah, do you want to talk us through a little bit about the struggles of getting India? Well, look, we can be honest here, and I think rightly so, because I think you guys, you had a difficult challenge on your hands to do something for India that was not insensitive.
Yeah.
So you guys nailed it. So talk us through that.
Well, that was the thing, probably, that in interrupting your time, Emily, is that with India, we did not want to upset an entire nation, and you immediately think Australia, don't that's fine, whatever. But with India, it's there's just so much beautiful, peaceful culture within it that there were things that you just cannot do. So, like, if you think of India and you think of building, you think Taj Mahal, you think of, what was the other ones, Emily, that we all...
Elephants with all the religious... I mean, anything religious is completely...
How?
Yeah.
So, I mean, everyone says to me, well, why don't you just build the Taj Mahal? And you're like, no. And they're like, an elephant with the thing? No. The colour festival with all the... No.
Oh, yes. They're like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing is even the flag. So you couldn't even do the flag if it was going to be Smash, because it represents. Now, please forgive me for
two
the order,
religions
but
and then peace.
two
in the
religions
middle.
and peace in a mandala. So you couldn't do that. You couldn't do so. Like we were literally just on this, having this moment of absolute, like, what can we do? And it did get to us.
Can I just interject here for a second? I just want to clarify that at no point in time did Emily and Sarah want to build any of these options.
Oh.
It was not, oh, we should do that. No, we should do, no, it was, we're not touching that. We're not touching that. We're not touching that. So it was all done in a very, very sensitive manner. And none of that was even considered, which narrowed down the options. So, you know, I just wanted to clarify that. It's not like you went, oh, we're going to do the Taj. No, it wasn't even an option.
Oh, I need to butt in for a moment. Our son is at his grandparents' house and he's been watching this whole time, but he's about to go to bed. So good night, Lincoln.
Night, Lincoln.
Night, Lincoln. Have a good sleep.
Carry on.
Parent duty's done.
That's my parenting for the week.
Mine's
think
sitting
it's
in
difficult
a room watching my phone because I've bribed her.
Fair enough.
The other one is out,
More
so-
quality parenting.
So
think
basically, how did you guys settle on the banyan tree?
I mean, obviously, part of the build was kind of that. You know, they gave us a very much an area that it was going to kind of smash, but then there was quite a lot of kind of, oh, well, it might go a bit this way, about this way. And remembering the bowling ball incident in Australia, you know, and we were like, what if it goes to one side? So I was like, I need something that's going to be that shape. So, you know, kind of thinking along those lines. And I've always wanted to build a tree. And so, you know, when you've got all the pieces and you're thinking, you know, and so, you know, that kind of thing of something really, you know, showing India in some way as being, you know, one of them, their kind of like country symbol. One of them is a tree, the banyan tree. And so that kind of like that really nice, peaceful, very sort of just quite beautiful. And, you know, with all the sort of things coming down. And then Sarah's like, let's make it, but it didn't really scream India. And so
feedback we got a lot as well. I was like, no, the banyan tree got to do with India. So I just put in a voice for all the feedback. I don't know. They could have just said, what has a banyan tree got to do with India? But I think it's interesting looking at that feedback. But then we decided, well, what's the animals of India? What are some creatures that we can create that we're not going to, and making them a little bit fun and making it a little less serious, kind of made it a smashable build as well.
Well, because we brought Sarah's, you know, thing was like cricket. You know, this is a cricket challenge. You know, let's pull cricket into it. I mean, it seems really obvious now. Everyone's like, oh, well, obviously but at the time it really didn't feel obvious. And then as soon as we had, you know, something playful, something kind of quirky that we could kind of work with. And, you know, Sarah's like, oh, I want to have a tea party. They're having a tea party at the back and the dad is setting up the tea party at the back. And then they've got a roller and they've got little cricket balls and, you know, like doing those little details and all the children, you know, looking and they're stealing the ball. You know, I really like that's what I really like about Lego is all those little details.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, during recording, I didn't notice all those little details, and of course, when we're being judged on that particular one, were we at our desks at that one? So we were quite away from each other. I don't think we could quite hear what was being said in the judging. So,
correct.
And you certainly don't hear a lot of the description because a lot of the description they use is what's recorded in the interviews, which is the day after. So yeah, I learned a lot about your one. On the show, and I did love the little the additions of the peacocks versus the tigers and the cricket. I thought that was brilliant.
Well, my dad's he is in the New Zealand over 60s cricket team, and so for me to do anything disrespectful to the holy game of cricket would have been a bad choice.
Oh man! Oh well, you didn't. You did it well, and you definitely did it justice. Jake, to tell us about your guys' challenge and the challenges of the challenge.
Oh yeah. So England's a good one because it's a bit like Australia, isn't it? You know, it's okay to punch up. It's okay to punch up. Punching down, not so good. Punching up, you know, can get a laugh. And then we sort of went kind of a little bit Monty Python with it as well. Just kind of a bit absurd. And we wanted that. Firstly, we're thinking, oh, all right. Well, I was thinking of a goal save of the ball coming in. The ball's coming in, so you've got to save the goal, right? And I was thinking, oh, football, you know, England, that sort of works. But then again, you know, every country plays football. So, and then I don't know where tea came from. I used to live in England, and the whole country runs on tea. So, yeah, that was it. That was like, oh, he's trying to save the tea. And the thing about that is, if we had a nice big teapot, then just like the top of the banyan tree, then if the ball's a little bit off, it's still going to hit the pot. And then we had a giant flag at the back as well, so it wasn't going to miss that. That was how it came together. And we split up the tasks. Glenn did the teapot and did a marvelous job of that and making it the right shape and super fragile, and the flag. And I concentrated on the table and the soldier. And the tricky part was just getting the soldier was actually quite a small target, and the ball didn't go through exactly where we wanted to, just because it was a bit smaller than everything else, but it still worked out quite nicely. I would have liked to have seen the whole thing that I built fragile actually get obliterated, but the main part, which was his torso, actually just sort of jumped up and then sat back down again, back where it was. And there was a big debate about if should we fill the teapot with brown bricks, because tea is brown, right? But then it's like, but then brown, is it going to look good on television if it's a spray of brown? So Glenn managed to talk me into saying, oh well, no, let's go multicolored. And just because it was so white, that was a good call as well, because between the white tablecloth, which we did white because that's fancy tablecloths are white, and we had white tiles and not a lot of other good color choices. Of course, the England flag, white and red. It all came out quite white. So having bright colors in the teapot was a good call. What was also in the teapot and the flag and the soldier were tiny little cucumber sandwiches and jam and cream scones. I spent like the last hour making hundreds of those things and loading them up there. Yeah, and I was thinking it was going to play out like the explosive hero shot minifig thing in the Australian series, and you had super slow-mo bricks going towards the screen. And I was just imagining like super slow-mo cucumber sandwich and jam and cream scone, but no, it wasn't like that at all. You could not see those things on TV. So there was an hour wasted, which is a bit disappointing.
That's good practice.
How did you feel on, because we're a little bit of backstory here because this is what everyone's watching for, but we know that during the build you got a lot of feedback about scale and the scale between the soldier and the teapot, and that was even given in the judging at the end. How did you feel when you watched the episode and not even a mention of scale?
I'm kind of glad it didn't come up, to be quite honest.
You can trust me. You can trust me to bring the controversy.
Yeah, I mean, I could see what he was saying in some ways, but and he's the judge. It's the final call. If that's what he's looking for, then that's what sticks out to him. Then I can't argue with it. He's the judge. But our thinking was, it's. This tea is like a huge tea party. There's a lot of people that want the tea, so there's to be a big pot. And the fact that the scale was a bit funny, well, scale's often a little bit funny. I'm not sure if the barbecue was to scale with the kangaroo, or I mean, there's
and that's the point, isn't it? Artistic license is just that. It's artistic license. And
now you put it that way. I think my barbecue was the same size as my cricket ball, so.
Yeah. So we did think for a moment when we got that feedback from him. We're like, okay, well, how can we make it make more sense that the pot of tea is enormous compared to the person? Like, how are they going to pick up this pot of tea to pour it? And I thought, well, maybe we should have a giant, like, 1950s looking crane from the dockside down at, Isle of Dogs or whatever, which is there in place to, like, lift and pour the tea. And thought about it long and hard, but we thought, no, it just required too much explanation and be distracting. And, sometimes less is more. So we didn't do it.
Sorry, mate. You were on the second row down. I couldn't see you.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I might actually... I have to scroll down now. We've got 2 rows of people down there.
Whoa.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, all good.
We were just discussing. Hang on. We better do this. There we go. Oh, hang on. No, that's right. Glenn and Jack. Yep, no, that's right. Yep. Is it Emily and Sarah or Sarah and Emily?
Emily and Sarah.
Oh no, that's right. We've got to get it right, because if we don't get it right, TV is
right.
Okay. That brings us, Liam. I know you're just hanging on the edge of your seat, waiting to talk about Air Canada, but we'll get to that. How many people have pulled up on the little the quirks because they've Robin, I think, said Dan and Jono at least once, and I know I called him up on saying Jake and Glenn at least once as well.
He did.
And for those of you watching at home, your names and your order, we've been told that whenever we do an interview or if we're in public or we do anything formal, we have to be Jono and Dan. Jono was always on my right side. That's the order. So they were quite, would you say, finicky about that? And to have a couple of mistakes slip through, I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, it's like the team brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time they announced us
I would have
was
loved to have had my name first, but not to be.
Sorry, what was that, Glenn?
the first time they announced us was the backwards of what they said.
Yeah.
Oh, on the show, you mean, Glenn?
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the show, and they did the same with me and Jono as well. So, and I think I've heard Jake and Glenn twice. So I'm going to start a little chalkboard and see how many we can get.
Emily, what do you call Glenn and Jake? What did you keep calling them by mistake?
Blake and Dan. It sounds like sort of I'm like confused. I can't help that.
You just say it all the time.
Which one of us is Blake and which one is Jen?
You're like Brad and Angela.
Sounds right.
Oh, I did put in a description somewhere. Come along and watch the stream and get all the lowdown on the other team. So here we go. It's only taken an hour and 5 minutes to descend and Glenn to turn up. Jeez.
Georgie's still on the way at some point. I don't know where she is.
Georgie said she was coming in at 7:30, and I thought she would literally be in the green room at 7:30, bang on the dot, because we all know and love our Georgie as very, very literal. Liam, tell us about your episode 2 build, mate. What was the big shift? The big shift from the beaver.
You guys ever seen a beaver before?
Well, I've seen a few. Some of them furry, some of them not so much.
Never seen a Canadian one, that's for sure.
No, I have never seen a Canadian beaver.
Well, our episode 2 build, that was definitely the one we struggled on the most out of the 3. Obviously we had added pressure of having Canada, but
yeah, we all wanted Canada. So disappointing. Canada.
See that?
You didn't want to swap, or would have been handy.
Club dinner. How come?
Piano club dinner.
Lame.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
Yeah, we started with the beaver, and we went a bit ambitious, I think, thinking that me and Emily aren't sculptor builders at the best of times. It's not our forte. We're minifig scale people. So we thought we'd try to be ambitious, seeing as it wasn't an elimination. But we were a few hours into it, And then we realized that this really isn't our ballpark. So, like, well, why don't we go for what we know we can do and try and build something a bit more at minifig scale? I mean, the welcome center wasn't quite really what we wanted, but I mean, overall, I think we were a bit more negative on ourselves than we needed to be about it. I think because it wasn't what we had envisioned, we weren't all that optimistic about it. But I mean, I think on TV it still looked quite good. We managed to get a lot of small minifigure stories into it, which is what sort of we liked. Like all around the base of the build was all, you know, the Mounties cooking bacon and drinking maple syrup, and there was a couple having a fight in the maple syrup fountain, and around the back we had Mounties chopping down trees, and we had the big moose on top. And we had our in the I can't remember if they I think they did zoomed in on the veranda on the welcome center, had a Mountie obviously waving, and mine and Emily's sig figs were in the windows waving to everyone.
Oh, didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really let us down, I think, was when the ball hit it, because I noticed it in the slow-mo. And like, obviously, when we were all watching it, it all happened so fast. Everything just exploded. You're like, oh my god, that was amazing. And then we watched it in slow motion. When the ball hit it, I think we built it too well. The whole thing sort of stayed together.
Yeah.
And then instead, the whole back of it sort of collapsed and folded in on itself, more like a controlled demolition than a explosion, which we did look pretty cool.
Yeah. They certainly needed a higher speed camera. So I asked Lance what frame rate they were recording that on, and it was 90. And it's like 90. You get a GoPro that couldn't do better than that, to be fair. You know, they really needed to have hired themselves a Phantom Flex or something for the day and recorded it at like 1,000 frames or 3,000 frames a second or something, and got that super crisp, high res slow-mo like they did in Oz. But yeah, it was a bit disappointing, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Risk, isn't it? When you do something that another country has done before, you know it's going to get compared, so you have to do it to at least that standard.
Yeah.
Can we see your slice, Dan?
See my what?
Slice.
The slices.
That was the best.
Oh, I love this.
I did not steal these from the set. I wish I did, but I actually recreated these to take away this weekend.
So much.
Had anyone met before going to the show? So Glenn and Jake are both in the same lug that I'm in, and we've all known each other for about 5 years. Liam, we'd met once before, but I didn't remember. And other than that, did anyone else know anyone else? Oh, I had met Georgie down in Nelson last November, and that was it. But I didn't know she was going on the show at that point. I didn't know I was going on there either. But we both knew that we had both auditioned.
Me and Jake did our audition with Georgie and Andrew.
That's right. Oh yeah, you did too. Yeah. Because I saw her because we were in after you, and I saw Georgie waiting on the way out. So
we were at a wedding once where Sarah was the bridesmaid.
I forgot about that.
Years ago, we completely forgotten about it.
The Christchurch crew officially met on the plane on the way to Lego Masters.
They're sitting next to each other.
Yeah, no, how cool is that?
Oh, really?
And we didn't know we were going to be seated together. And we sat down, and Sarah was wearing a Lego Dots bracelet, and I was like, "You're a Lego person." So we said hi.
Wow.
Yeah, and weirdly, my husband's uncle knows Andrew. So there you go. There's another weird connection.
This is the problem with New Zealand, eh? It is so small. Everyone's going to know everybody here, and
Jake,
the Lego community. The Lego community.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on,
Oh,
Jake.
and actually, one of my husband's work colleagues apparently knows you, Jake, really well. And when he saw the Lego Masters thing and saw our brick wall, he's like, "Oh, do you know another person who's on Lego Masters to my husband?" He's like, "Oh yeah, my wife." So everyone's
You gotta love New Zealand.
Yeah. Everywhere else around the world, 6 degrees of separation. New Zealand, 2 degrees of separation. If you're lucky. Yeah, if you're lucky. Favorite
some
Lego
cases,
themes?
Favorite Lego
Amy and Adam?
Themes.
I'm not into a specific theme. I just like the ideas.
Yeah, I like the ideas one.
Emily?
The new
I love-
18.
I love the new botanicals range. I'm super
Oh,
into
yeah.
that at the moment.
So good.
Like
So good.
succulents, I've got it sitting here. It's like my favorite thing ever. But if you would have asked me this 20 years ago, I'd have said pirates.
Sarah?
I sound like David from Schitt's Creek, but I am obsessed with the obsessed.
With what, sorry? Botanicals.
Yes. So
Glenn?
I went to buy the orchids and they sold out.
Oh,
You
bummer.
see a Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I thought you were just going to say everything for a second, but fair enough.
Well, yeah,
Thanks for being specific. It is true. Jake?
Let's see. Really like the Galaxy Squad theme when it came along. Did a lot with that. And these days I like Monkey Kid actually because it's got all sorts of interesting parts
It's
and
very cool.
interesting colors and just some lots of shipping containers. I've got a thing for shipping containers and that's their motif as well. So I don't know. I quite dig those sets. They're a bit cheaper as well, which is also a bonus.
Yeah. Liam?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously I collect minifigs, so like I've got lots of these minifig shelving units. So I love all the minifigs. But probably, I mean, I'm a huge car guy, so Speed Champions for sure.
Yeah. And for me, it's got to be Creator Expert, modulars, and big vehicles. But anything Creator Expert is definitely my favorite theme. Any day of the week.
I say this, but in reality, the thing I like building the most is just mocks.
Yeah, I mean, agreed. Because I'm looking at sets, and if it's like a beautiful idea set, I just don't want to take it apart, and that's actually a problem because it takes up space. Yeah. Whereas something like Monkey Kid, build it, it's cool, it's fun, and then I'd have no trouble like demoing it and then reusing the parts. And I mean, that's how I built my collection, was buying like city sets and creator sets and having fun building them with the kids or whatever. And then it was like, right, total it, sort it, part it out, do something else with it,
Yeah.
So
Smudge was fine after the show, by the way. She just takes it all in her stride. Smudge is very well environmentally trained because she was originally trained as a drug dog. Was it fun for Di to scare Adam? It was certainly fun to watch Di scaring Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Not in any way fun.
That episode,
not fun.
That episode was amazing. Anytime Adam was away from the table, I would just come over to plan how we were going to next scare him.
I watched it back.
He was waving him over. I was expecting a warning saying, Adam is got, but no, nothing.
I tried to get him under the table, but we couldn't quite work that one out.
You want to die under the table, Amy?
Oh my gosh, I would have had a heart attack.
That's a different twist.
Sorry.
That could have made that for I think that's Lego Masters After Dark, that one, but anyway. This is an interesting question, eh? How much time did we get to look over the builds? Like episode 1, we all went back to the green room, got our cameras and stuff, and then went back and milled in and around the studio for ages, and that was the only time that happened.
Yeah.
And then it seemed we were often kind of, because they were long days, we were pushed out of the studio relatively soon after the builds because everybody's generally an employee. They've got to go home. They've got to tidy up. So
Yeah. So we did get to spend time in the studio during our own models hero shoot. And I, for one, particularly enjoyed the hero shoot time because the studio lights were dimmed. They, the lighting guys came in and lit the models specifically for the close-up shots and all the details and things like that. And it was quiet. It was just you and a couple of camera guys. And I really enjoyed the quiet reflection time of the hero shots. How did you guys sort of find that time in the studio?
Oh, I fully agree. There was like this. I don't know. There was me, Emily, and I's time to decompress. I reckon we went in there and we'd just be there, and you just were able to just reflect on what had happened. And we're often quite quiet, which is very unusual for us too, because we were just there. We were just in the moment. I mean, we're just such quiet wallflowers most of the time. So, yeah.
I tell you what, I didn't necessarily find it that relaxing because the season 2, the episode 2 hero shots with the kangaroo, I was walking around admiring it, and I stubbed my toe on the pedestal, and the head fell off.
I have some amazing behind the scenes shots of Adam over his build.
Have you got some shots of that, Liam?
Yeah, I have this one really good picture of Adam. So I think it's Sophie and Alex are lining up his build on the pedestal, and Adam's like next to it, like ready to catch it at any moment. It's a great photo.
And for the next episode with the gnome, I was convinced that was falling off the entire time. So I basically stood for the last 20 minutes of the episode just like that, not moving.
They showed that. They just didn't have 20 minutes spare to show the whole time. So that was a sped up version. That was the sped up version. This is an interesting question. No, but if you want to follow, please do. Socials are all in the comments. And speaking of socials, right now would be a good time for everybody. If you have Instagram or a particular platform that you want to be followed on for Lego Masters, feel free to throw a link in the chat. Amy, Adam, I don't think you're on anything, are you?
No.
I've got
No.
my
It
own.
required me knowing how to do that. How do I do that?
Emily, Sarah.
How do I do it? Where do I write it?
Well, you got post a comment. Oh, maybe you don't. Do you have post a comment, or can you only see the comments?
No, I can only see the comments.
I think we chat.
Put it in
Oh,
post
yeah,
chat
we
and then
we can chat. Yeah, we can put a comment in the chat.
upload.
Yeah, put a comment in the chat, or just go to my
Is it
Instagram
Emily,
and
Sarah, Sarah, Emily?
find the link stuff. Glenn, are you using any socials?
I'm not sure what they are.
You're not sure
Instagram,
what they
Facebook.
are or where they are.
I've got a Facebook page. That's about it.
Yeah. Posting anything on Instagram?
No.
Jake, yours is Instagram and Facebook that you're posting to?
Mainly Facebook. I'm not. But some stuff might be going Instagram. There's like a switch where stuff goes across there automatically. To be honest, I'm not really up with the kids on that one. But I've got a YouTube channel. Channel, and I post my builds there. I posted the Lego Zone tour, and I might post a bit more about Lego Masters later. But everything's going on my personal Facebook at the moment.
Cool. I'll grab everybody's socials and link them at some point anyway. But if you're already following mine, I do try to tag everyone else's on Instagram at least. So I haven't posted anything to Plymouth thing in ages. See you, Jake. Bye.
Bye, Jake.
I missed that.
Oh no, he might have just dropped by accident or something. I have a feeling that this might be a comment for Amy and Adam to address. Just saying.
I think we've successfully just ruined a small part of his life, and that was exactly the goal.
Yeah.
Is this your friend named after it? Or is it just
Yep. That's good.
Oh.
So for context for everybody else, we left our kids with our friend Shane and his wife Sarah. So we thought to repay them that we'd just name a build after Shane and then smash it in the balls. So
that wasn't that was the whole plan from the outset. That's just how it turned out.
As
and then
you do.
Oddly enough, we found out afterwards how much he hated the nickname Shano. So that was just an added bonus.
that actually only happened about a month ago, and we thought we've got a treat coming.
Thanks for the comment, Jake. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
It wasn't
All right,
me,
keep
by the
chatting
way.
amongst yourselves, guys, because I'm like 10 minutes behind in chat here trying to find the questions. So feel free
Oh,
to.
that chat is private chat. Oh, whoops.
No, I put it.
That's
We
private
put it out
chat.
in private chat. So
There goes Shane, though, doesn't know how to.
Well, if you drop a link in private chat, I can copy and paste it to regular
well, I
chat.
don't know how to do that. Jeepers.
We
Bloody
need
tech
Georgie
phobes,
here.
Georgie,
we can
where
all-
are you?
We can all build Lego, but we can't use social media. What the heck? And they call,
Talk about,
and they call me the
Lego.
boomers.
Why he's
Emily's
in-
looking
Moose
at me
was a
very
good choice.
Emily's
Oh,
looking at
wrong
me
one.
very
Ah.
unimpressed because I'm in charge of our social media, and she's like,
Media.
"What? You don't know how to do that? That's not good." So
Yeah, I definitely don't have enough
Sorry, Emily.
socials.
yeah.
Need more socials.
I'm pretty easy
Okay.
to find. I'm just Liam Hagenson on Facebook, and I think I'm probably Liam Hagenson on Instagram, but I think my handle's A Taste of Lemon. But
Yeah, it's
pretty
a taste of lemon. I have to keep remembering that every time.
Yeah.
Try to
I
tag
do.
you. The kiwi fruit was cool. You know what? It didn't explode the way that I wanted it to. It just face planted.
But they
It's
didn't
still
leave
cool,
it
though.
so beautifully. Like it was like it's still laid out. Like on a
Yeah,
paper.
but I set us up for I set myself up for failure on that one because obviously I was building the kiwi fruit and then I was building the slices inside because I wanted to see the slices like Fruit Ninja going everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And I said such, and because it didn't, it might as well have been another roller coaster.
Yeah, we
Set
were
yourself
a bit-
up for something to work, fail, nah,
We
you're
had
out.
that in the back of our minds during a lot of the comments. It's like this is kind of what I want to happen, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it because then
Yeah.
if it doesn't, then automatically it's failed. Right? Just keep that
Well,
in the
we,
back.
we learned that. We learned that after that one. It's like, we're not giving you anything anymore because
Under promise, over deliver.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
The sheep guts was cool. That was sort of Jono's idea, but we never told anybody about it either. And we were like, oh man, I wonder if we'll get away with this. You know, this might be a bit graphic. And to be fair, it did look a little bit like roadkill on the ground when they showed it.
It
So,
really did.
I saw him loading that stuff up in the brick pit, and I was like, "If you guys asked production, that's pretty grim."
we were thinking that by the time it explodes and hits the floor and everyone sees it and they've recorded, they're not rebuilding. So yeah, well, it might get edited, but well, we'll give it a crack. We'll see. Oh wow.
I think
yes,
I think we should
sorry,
touch on how long that shooting those really took. I mean, it just looked like 5 minutes on television to show our explosions.
Ah.
But that was an entire day of filming. That was like, 12, 14 hours that day.
yeah.
That was a huge day on set.
And
Yeah.
that machine it was quite slow as well. Like, didn't it take ages to shoot? Or it was,
Mhm.
Oh, I tell
They
you
were
what,
trying to line it up, I think.
Yeah,
wasn't
it
as
was the
bad as
calibration.
as
The-
the bridge. Do you
I
guys
know what
remember
you're
the
going to
bridge?
say, Adam. I know what you're going to talk
Yes.
about. Yeah.
They
Another
had,
question that pops up a lot is who picks up all the pieces?
yeah, I get
And-
that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what anyone else's thoughts were, but the first time that one of those things got smashed and got taken apart, and we're all just standing there going, whoa, look at that. All of these people just came out of the brick pit, and I was like, whoa, swamped in, pick
Yeah.
everything up, sweep it up, and they're gone again.
Where did they
I-
come from? It's like
Whoa.
they were hiding
They,
in the wall.
Yeah.
they didn't even
I
stop
mean, I
to
think
sing
that
a
was
little
the
song.
first time in the
No.
scene all of the crew.
They didn't stop for anything. It was great.
Yeah. It was really interesting that we weren't really introduced to those people.
No.
Like, they
They
were all
wanted
part of
to
the process,
separate
but they were
us.
these like mysterious people who lived out
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But they knew us because they had the screen they were able to watch.
Yeah,
And they
that's
watched
right.
us.
They were watching.
That was the
That's
weird
what-
thing. They'd say our names and stuff. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Sarah, be like, hello,
Yeah.
person in a mask who I don't know.
I was surprised
Right.
how behind they
I think,
got. We were at 2 or 3 episodes behind by a few in.
Oh, in terms of restocking, Glenn.
Yeah, they were quite a way behind.
Well, we
Yes.
used an awful lot of bricks, made a big mess.
Not
Oh,
much.
so they didn't have everything back. in
Oh,
time
God,
to-
no.
I never noticed that.
Often you could tell, like, you remember from a previous build, like I remember at one point wanting 2x4 brown plates. There was none. Probably because you'd use them all on the kangaroo.
I remember
But-
really, really wanting to build a
Yeah.
roller coaster, and I couldn't find any roller coasters.
Yeah, do you know why? I think
What
that's
happened?
because I asked for them to take them out of the brick pit and get rid of them and put something
Take
useful
it out
in
the
there.
back. Yeah. There was a skip out the back full of roller
Get
coaster
rid of
bits.
it. Yeah. Bloody useless roller coaster pieces. Just circling back to this one. Thanks for the feedback. And yes, I do plan on doing more episodes on Thursday nights. Cast are always going to be welcome on Thursday nights. I am going to open it up to some crew, and hopefully I'll get Di and Robin on here at some time in the future too. So for the next few weeks at least, Thursday night 7:00. Keep calendars free if you want to join in and have some more chats and bants. Let's do it. But just following up on that, yes, this is Lego Masters and not Tech Masters. It's a different show.
Thank goodness for that.
And apparently not one that Amy, Adam, Emily, or Sarah are going to apply for. Now, Glenn, on the other hand, not being the tech wizard that he says he is, works in IT. So I'm got it on good authority that he's a bit of a tech wizard. Just saying. Just throwing him under the bus here, man. Here's a brilliant question.
Oh,
What was the piece that wasn't in the brick pit that you really wanted? Let's go. Here's a half an hour conversation.
Cool. I'm the worst person ever for names of bricks, but on the first day I asked Luca for the pit that looks like this. Where's my camera? It goes like that. And he looked at me like I was insane and then realized what he'd gotten into.
You know, the piece, it's like it does this and it, you know, what was it? What was the piece?
I don't know. It was one from the you know that awful pufferfish I made for the
I love that pufferfish.
Oh, I know the bit you mean. I know exactly the bit you mean. And I got the crocodile right here.
Yes, that one. That one at the bottom.
Undercarriage. The undercarriage of the crocodile.
Oh, right.
Undercarriage of the crocodile. What's that called, people? Come on, go.
Amy calls
I'll go on Bricklink and look it up for you.
Yeah.
I think for us,
I'm going to suggest that they're probably not called
It's no fun if you know what it's really called.
Okay, I won't go then.
We're not sure. We're not sure.
The part that I really wanted was the 1x1 with a bar on it. Like I call them, they're like a little foot or a little claw. There's none of those, and they're so common nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean one by one round with the little stalk coming out the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Oh, those, yes.
Oh,
those are so good.
Coffee handles.
Oh, the coffee group handle.
Yeah, coffee group handle's a good one too.
You guys know what I mean.
No baby heads, but baby bodies.
Baby heads. Nobody wants a baby head. You monster.
The baby
bodies.
Baby bodies, but no baby heads. How do you do a baby in a pram?
There was
where were the heads for those babies?
I looked up to got the baby bodies, and I'm like, I need to use a baby body. We need to find a way to use them. But
what? Headless baby bodies in prams? Who's going to want to watch that?
Oh, that could have been fun though. Come on.
We could have just drawn little faces on their neck sticks.
Oh my goodness.
The things that annoyed me that we didn't have was bricks with grooves in them and tiles with holes in them. So that made technical stuff, movement not so easy.
And there were no frogs. Like frogs.
Yeah, frogs are really useful.
I really wanted more greenery.
There was no chameleons either. Not when I was trying to take them.
I think my pick was not going to the toilet without having sound gear attached.
Oh.
I celebrated that. I tried to be as noisy as possible.
I really feel for the sound guys and what they had to listen to.
I would announce it so loudly. I'm going to the loo now. I'm going to the loo now. I'm going to the toilet now.
Those poor sound guys. I hope they've got good psychologists for those guys.
One of them was it the sound guy was when we did What Now, when we made our guest appearance on What Now. It was Lars. He was one of the sound guys.
Oh, Steve was there.
Steve.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, he was on What Now. And we were like, hey, he's seen under
What
our
Now's his
shirt.
normal job, and they poached him to do Lego Masters.
Who was the guy that changed out and he was like really friendly and liked to stick his hands up under your shirt and Like lift your get up over your
I think that was
face.
just you, Glenn.
Yeah, that was just you.
We told you to stop that, Glenn.
Okay.
Not appropriate.
That was the soundy that sort of came along halfway through, right?
Yeah. It was very friendly.
He was very
the
friendly. He
Guy
loved
that
Smudge. He
snuck
liked
in
giving her
through the
pats.
side door and wasn't wearing any of the crew uniform.
Yeah, that's the
Looked a
one.
bit homeless.
Pretty sure he's.
Did
Yeah,
he live in that camper van just out the door?
Yeah, he was the one that lived in the camper van and crapped in the trees next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had all those
Yeah.
very interesting visitors all through the time.
All right. True story, folks. True story. There's a squatter in a camper van outside, and they squatted in the bushes. It was horrendous. Smudge does have an Instagram page. It's smudge_LMNZS1. Here's an interesting, maybe slightly controversial question, but I need to ask it because, you know, the chat demand it.
Who's the most annoying contestant? Do you mean the most annoying contestant apart from Emily, or just like in general?
That's a bit mean to say that about her when she's not here. I feel like it's a bit mean to say that when she's not in the room.
I've got a story. I've got a good story about the person
it
who
was a
annoyed
balance. We're pretty well the same.
Who annoyed the crew?
Tell us the story, Amy.
So at one point, Lance, head camera guy, he was
chatting.
He's chatting to the crew on the mics, and he's like, "Guys, we've got a problem here. There's some birds in the roof or something. It's really messing with the audio, and they will not stop tweeting." And Les is like, "That's Adam. He's been whistling all day."
Oh man!
I don't know.
And
I can tell you who the most,
person. It's like, oh yeah.
I can tell you who the most
I
annoying
feel like this is
contestant
one of
was.
those conversations where no one's going to agree.
No.
Surely not.
I don't know who it is, but I can tell you the most annoying contestant was the one who drank all the Cokes.
Yes.
That was Amy.
That was not me.
Might have been.
I drank my fair share.
I didn't drink any Cokes with sugar in it, and that was the only Cokes you were drinking, so it wasn't me then.
Yeah, I drank.
We ended up just bringing our own.
Well, I mean, I was the only contestant with their own chili bin in the green room, so.
So organised.
Who's not
From
here?
From what I understand, I was the only contestant that got asked to swear less on set.
I got.
Well, Jono did too.
I didn't get asked to swear this.
By the editors too. They're like, you know, there's a lot of stuff we can't use. You boys really need to try and do your best to swear less, please. What? Really?
I did notice a really good trick is if you're doing something super stressful, you swear, and then they can't use it. So if you know you're about to drop something really important, just drop an F-bomb.
No shit.
Also,
Which was our tactic.
Start singing. We started singing.
No, because they show that.
If anything that's like they can't afford to put in for all the songs because my singing's so beautiful that although they would have loved to have used it.
Yeah, you'd start cranking out a song and they'd be like, "Oh no, we're gone. Sorry."
Although that could have just been me singing the song.
In me.
Did they have the large ball and socket joints? They only had mixel ball and socket joints, right?
No, they had the big ones.
They did.
the big ones.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had-
no,
they
yeah.
had the big
And they only had one end. They had the end with the dual end, not the single end.
Yeah, they had a
Yeah, that was
few
for
where
the
they had
ratchet.
one end, but not the other, which was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't have the small finger ratchet joints. None of those at all. But they did have the small mixel ball joints.
Yes, small finger.
And a lot of stuff was just in grey. So like if you wanted to do like you couldn't do like stems or all the botanical stuff that's all in green and that kind of thing. None of that.
Did anyone have a Lego related injury? Did anyone break a nail?
At some point.
That was an
I broke
Adam
lots of
related.
nails.
I've got a scar from where I cut my finger on the first day.
Oh wow!
Adam ran into me. Have they shown that?
Do you know what?
They didn't make it in. It was
didn't
episode
make it in.
3.
You're joking me.
It was
So
so loud.
that was brilliant. So I was running to the brick pit and I was doing my awesome Tom Cruise run. And the producers were like, "That is amazing. you need to do that again. So they asked me to run back to the brick pick again when I didn't need anything. So I sprinted in, went round the corner. Emily was right there. I stood in her toe, and then I said sorry, and then I just ran back out again. So it just looked like I just run in, stomp, and then I didn't even need anything.
I was like, what did I do?
Didn't even make the show.
She came running back to the table. She's like, Adam just ran into me and ran away again.
Good time.
I don't know.
I'd forgotten about that.
I also lost, I think all of us lost all our nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The stuff on nails.
Yeah, because we were told that we needed to have nail polish all the time. And so we were just like constantly destroying all our nail polish and then having to like repaint it to make it look all.
And you could see in the bins, like in the yellow,
or the red.
There was if you picked up, you would see red nail polish. Where obviously I just. And then
we I don't know about anyone else, but I was taking like analgesic pain relief and anti-inflammatories like every day, every 4 hours, just to keep on top of like back pain, joint pain, just any kind of pain really. So I was just taking it prophylactically. I was chewing the stuff like lollies.
Yeah, same here. There's a lot of.
I think should have done that because my back was hurting so much.
I think everyone saw the front pocket of my bag, which was pretty much just prescription medication.
Yeah. Slugbucker, what did you want examples of? Sorry, Glenn.
Yeah, I hurt my back on the
Legos
episode, and for the first 3 I was struggling with it, but I come right. But yeah, every time I tried to run to the brick pit, I was looking pretty pathetic.
I just didn't do running, so that was easy.
Me neither.
This is a good question. Do you get paid for filming, or are you just there to have fun? So, who wants to answer the question about how much money you lost going to Lego Masters?
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah, so we got an allowance to cover rent, mortgage, and expenses back home. Plus, we got fed.
If you lived in a cardboard box, maybe.
Yeah.
It was a nominal allowance, and then there was
yeah. Oh yeah.
Took the edge off the loss.
It was for the love of Lego.
Yeah, it definitely was.
No, I don't think a lot of people realize that we were told there was no prize signing up to it. We were told there was nothing. We all went in there genuinely just there for the Lego.
Yeah.
They said there was no cash prize.
Yeah, but they never even committed to any other prize either. Not until after we had all been told that we were going, at least. So we knew there was no
none
cash
of us
prize.
knew what it was. Yeah.
We surmised that there might be some other prize, but we never had that confirmed until we got there on the day where they told us what the prize was. And funny thing is, I remember having. Oh, it was a smart idea, and it was.
People were genuinely just there for the Lego, not for other reasons, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember, I remember on day one, my call was it was going to be either a Kia Sportage or a Hyundai Santa Fe as the prize, because like that's always the call, right? I was surprised when it was a Fiat. The Fiat was a surprise. Not going to lie. What was everybody? Okay, yeah, this is a good segue into this question. Honest response when you saw the Fiat come around the corner, because I remember exactly what I said. I don't know what anybody else said. Thanks for Fiat for sponsoring.
Emily leaned over and goes, I hope we get that Duplo car. All about the Duplo car.
I wanted the Duplo.
I wasn't sure that I couldn't, but I love Jake's response when they asked him about it, where he just couldn't back.
This is going out live.
It's fine. It's all done. They can't change it now.
We love you, Fiat.
My response was, I can't even fit in that car. I'd sit in that Fiat or tip over sideways. I'd need Glenn in the other side and Liam in the back seat just to even it out. Jeez,
I love the
like,
car.
would have been a wheelbarrow.
If anyone's seen my car, like I need that Fiat. I can't wait for it to arrive. Like I need to have it. My car currently doesn't lock.
My
You
nasty
were
little
probably one of
roller.
the few people that could fit in it.
Well, I turned to
To be
him and I was
like-
like, I need a new car. We need to win this because I need a new car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
were the same. We're like, this is actually ideal because we need a new car,
Yeah.
and that's a new car. So that was our
And for me, I'm like, okay, if I want a new car, I'd want it to be electric, but a free car is a very good car. So
yeah.
Wow, and
Maybe
you
we
guys
should get the
like
Fiat
that too.
to the Christchurch Brick Show, and we can all have a challenge where we have to all fit in it.
Yeah, the whole cast in the Fiat,
The whole
like,
cast
like they
in a
do with a
Fiat.
mini.
I'm sorry. I'm way too
It's like a clown car. Open the door, we'll just start flying out.
That's terrible.
I'd cry if I had to do that. A minifig or two. Oh,
I don't
no one stole anything.
No, there was nothing taken from the set.
These guys are
We
all
were
lying.
given a minifiggy.
See,
We were given our
that's what
minifig.
went. The animals went like you wouldn't believe.
These
we
guys
allowed
are.
Dan, are we allowed to show what you sent us?
What did I send you? Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to get it.
The,
Oh, look,
Mine's handy too.
the outfits.
Oh,
I'm gonna-
The outfits for our sig figs.
I'm gonna be honest.
This one we prepared earlier.
Is that
I
what
had a-
Sarah's going?
I had a pocket full of minifigs on the last day, and then I also built a minifig for every
this
one
is
of my
Sarah and
family.
Dad.
You've got a body on yours.
I put my minifig, my sig fig.
That's our minifig from the show.
There's my sig figs.
That they give us.
That's really clever.
So she's got
Without the
options.
shirt, how would you know it's me?
The great hair.
So come on, serious answer. Who helped themselves to minifigs? I did, plenty.
I didn't take a minute. No, I didn't
I
take a minute.
I didn't take
Really?
a minifig.
Mountie.
I took
Guys,
other
In
things.
hindsight, I would have loved to, but
Hashtag opportunity lost, man. Jeez.
I know I'm gutting myself now because it just didn't occur to me. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, what did you guys steal? I got one of these cameras. And,
Oh, hang on. We need to rephrase this. You know,
Yeah. Can I say,
Stealing-
like, when we say I didn't steal anything? I said maybe
repurposing,
Yeah.
Oh,
borrowing
oh,
for a
that
future
orange may have
project.
fallen into my pocket.
You know, I don't know if we like the word stealing or theft, but you know, repurposing and borrowing for a future project. That's different. Okay, different.
Can we
I
please
was
get
whispering
Robin on to
skinny
talk
jeans.
about that?
Yeah.
Great story about that.
But I got a minifig for each of the family, and I've got a couple of the knights as well. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you know, I got a
New
couple,
homes.
just a couple.
Someone put you-
Where'd they get the parts from? Well, they came from Lego. Funny that.
the company.
Serious question though.
Well, I didn't
So
have to get one from the bridge challenge. Didn't they have to run out somewhere around Auckland and try and find
Yeah.
someone that had the?
Oh yeah.
And
The three long blue technically.
Pins.
He had a brick
Yeah.
or an open of the pins. Yeah.
and the black
the
ones.
rest of it, it's like a order, isn't it? They do like a Lego
Yeah.
Masters order, and they get
Yeah, that's right. So Lego themselves have a prescribed Lego Masters set list, and then the judges are allowed to add a few pieces to that for their own flair. So it's all sent via or purchased from Lego. And
Gosh, can you imagine the
TVNZ
Lego
own
box
it.
set?
It would a container. It would have come in a container. There was that much. What we saw, and this is the interesting thing. So what we saw in the brick pit was about a third of what was available to us, and the rest of it was in the back area called the back pit. And that's where the brick pit sorters, that's where they worked, out in the back pit. So when we depleted the brick pit, we would request stuff from the back pit and they would bring it in, and we would have to take it from there back to our tables and things. So it was actually quite difficult because a lot of the stuff that was available wasn't necessarily in the brick pit. So you had to do a bit of research to see if they had the parts and the colors. And it took a bit of time to settle into what was available. So I think, like for me, episode 1 was a real write-off, because I think we spent a lot of that time trying to figure out what exactly was available and what wasn't.
Well, we didn't even get the parts list until episode 2, wasn't it?
No, I don't think we got the parts list until episode 3, actually.
Oh yeah.
If I remember rightly, it was a long way.
We did a wee bit of
Shano would like to let you know that the orchid is back in stock, mate. So if
Thanks,
you
Shano.
want to get on the blower and get yourself an orchid, Shano's got you covered, mate.
Cheapest place is supposed to be warehouse.
Thanks, Shano. I appreciate you.
So there were no Kobe or Mega Constructs parts. No, because I think that would kind of go against the whole point of calling it Lego Masters. I guess if you wanted to have multi-brick, universe, you could have just called it Brick Masters.
I think Georgie would have had a meltdown if we'd have had Flego in it.
If you'd caught, especially if you'd added the S to the end of it, she would have. I am. Hey, Liam, are you coming down to Tauranga this weekend?
I will not be. No, I've got a lot of family stuff on at the moment, so I won't be anywhere. And plus, I'm still shacked up with a broken leg, so I can't drive anywhere at the moment.
Fair call.
Hey, Liam, how did you break your leg?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. I assume it's something sensible and not drunken and ridiculous.
I heard it was from exercise. Sport related.
Okay, so in episode 3, did you guys not see Daigen would push me off that step ladder in the brick pit?
That does sound like the kind of thing Guy would do, though. He probably snuck up on it.
It's on camera. It'll be on camera somewhere.
I was out with some mates, and I had a tipple of Appleton's rum, and a couple of bottles of soju, and I was just enjoying myself in the spa pool, having a nice relaxing time, and then I thought I'd go and jump in the swimming pool, a bit of hot and cold.
Oh, you were at our house in Auckland
with my jump, and I hit the bottom and snapped my fibula and fractured my tibia.
Bruh.
No.
And did someone have to dive into the pool and drag you out like a hero? And how did that go down?
Well, for some reason, I didn't quite feel the pain until the next morning.
Oh, did that have anything
I
to do
knew
with
I'd done some damage, but yeah, I went to sleep fine, and then I woke up with a Christmas ham for a foot. So I was like, I can't walk on this.
You're freaking lucky you didn't get compartment syndrome or something like that, man.
Oh.
Jesus.
I'm just really thankful I didn't dive in, and I just went in feet first. So.
Yeah, right. God.
Are we allowed to show these for this question?
Yeah. So they did pay us. This was the Lego set that we all got, 107 whole pieces. They are so. These sets here, this little set is in the monochrome colors, so white, light gray, and with the black base. These ones are for contestants only. They are limited to 500, and we are in the number 120s because I got number 121, so I'm picking that. The range is through there somewhere. So there's only 500 of those made, and funny thing. Did you know that your name is recorded against the number one that you got at Lego Group? They're recording that who gets them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
There is exactly the same set. Yeah, you are. There is exactly the same set in yellow and red. And these are not numbered, and these ones are given to the crew. And
how do you have one, Sarah? What the?
Where do you guys get those from?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have shown that, but anyway. That's a story for after the stream.
It's out the bag now.
It was just on the ground there. I just found it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. If you want to build yourself.
Right, well, I'm off to bed now. Good night.
If you want to build yourself one of these, the instructions for this are on Rebrickable. The only difference with the Rebrickable instruction is it doesn't have the brick layer in the base. So if you want it to be the same, put the brick layer in the base. Other than that, the instructions on Rebrickable are the same, have confirmed. Just for those people that are in chat asking about it. Did they feed us? Hell yeah, they did, man. The food was amazing.
Oh, man.
Talk about the
Yep.
food, people. Talk about the
missed
food.
it. Oh,
So
problem was,
each
if
day
you-
was a different country.
Yeah.
oh,
So,
yeah.
If you all you go into a food
Yeah,
coma and not be able to build after lunch.
the
Mhm.
afternoon session was tough. Really
but the best
tough.
part is that my Emily's not a big eater, so I just pick through what she wasn't eating and just take that as well. So
Yeah, I'm not
Thank
going to
you.
lie. Smudge did get fed quite well by the cast that didn't want to eat their lunch.
I remember
but-
you and me, Dean, having a whole steak to ourselves.
Yeah, right, man. It was good. Yeah, so on set, the food was great, but at home, Glenn, the mean barbecue cook down here, and we had a butcher just up the road from us, and
we only got one of those.
You mean?
so good, so good, so much moot. Was there pie? Did we ever have pie?
No,
I don't
well, I
think
wouldn't
so.
have anyway. Amy,
I
you
think
wouldn't have either.
someone did a
We
bacon
like
and egg.
pie.
I don't think it was fine.
I'm a big fan of pie. I would have remembered.
Glenn, oh yeah, Glenn made a bacon and egg pie, or Jake, Glenn.
No, John,
Yeah,
Oh, Jono made
Jono.
the bacon and egg
Ooh,
pie.
too.
Yeah.
that was good. I like
Pie over here, Prophet. It's amazing. You got to come to New Zealand and have a steak and cheese pie, bro. It'll melt your brain. These Americans don't understand what pie is. Their pie's on a different level. They're all dessert pies. You come over here and get some of our meat pie, bro.
Meat in it. Meat.
Be on. What was Robin like to meet?
Oh, he is
so nice.
Robin
He's
is
very
the
nice.
nicest person. You cannot, like, he is just the most passionate big kid you've ever met, who I have a lot of time for. And we were lucky enough when we did What Now to sort of spend some more time with him and just sitting him down, having a meal and just yarning with him. He's just got all the time in the world for you. He doesn't have kids himself, but man, he's good with kids. We actually tried to separate him away from our children. But being my son was obsessed with him. So he was just like, why do you do this? What do you do? And he would just answer the questions, very patient. But just, yeah, one of the nicest guys. Him and Di were just so cool. I couldn't hold them.
I guess the
On the
point
show,
was
even when he's telling you that you suck, you still come across thinking that's so nice.
It's violently Canadian.
One of those people that it doesn't matter what they're saying, that you just comes across as nice.
What are you saying, Glenn?
I'm just saying, during the filming, we didn't really get to talk to him until the end of the filming. Besides the judging and stuff,
Yeah, you could tell that he really just wanted to sit down and chat. He wanted to just hang out. But obviously, because he is like Sarah said, he's another AFOL. He started the Lego Certified Professional network, so to speak. He was the very first one. He created the program and was, got himself in. So he's come from a background of doing what we do the most, doing what we love to do, which is build Lego and mocks and stuff. And he just wanted to sit down and chat, but he couldn't. Had to maintain that professionalism. But, during the elimination, when teams were eliminated, you got to have a chat with him one-on-one. And that time was too fast. I'd love to sit down and have a chat with him. I genuinely hope that I get to see him again before he goes back to Canada. I know that he's going to be traveling a little bit. I think he will make the effort to pop in and visit us all. So I'm looking forward to that. But he is the nicest guy. It's, Canadians, New Zealanders just get on so well anyway. And he is genuinely a nice guy for sure. Now, there was a question back somewhere, and I've lost it, but I remember reading it, and I think it came from Jake. It was something along the lines of, what advice would you give to new people, or, to people that are starting mocks and, that process? You guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Calm down, guys.
You guys.
Yeah, right.
It's the kind of thing that probably happened naturally for everyone. I mean, I don't think there was a point where I thought, right, I'm going to start making something. because it started when I was a kid. So
Well,
I just
for me-
Yeah,
did.
and you're right there, Adam. Because when kids aren't self-conscious, they'll just build stuff and they won't
Yeah.
worry if it's not perfect. And that's the perfect time to start, being creative and practicing. But what you see with adults is that they get paralyzed by it not being perfect or something, and they don't even start, which is such a terrible shame. But you have to start somewhere,
Mm.
and it doesn't matter what it is.
Best for adults to start is modding rather than mocks.
Yeah.
So take a step
that's
and
cool.
modify it a little bit, and then build up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
that's really good.
100%. Yeah. Start with a set that you like and build. If it's a character thing, build a terrain piece for it. If it's a piece of terrain, build a character for it. I'm a Glenn hit the nail on the head with that one as an adult. Start modifying, and then working into mocking from there. Don't be afraid. Like Jake said too. Don't be afraid. Just
The worst
I really stand behind the modification thing. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. I like recoloring things, like a really cool set, and then like I've got my UCS Falcon in the corner there that I've made in black and red. As you notice, a lot of my builds are red. So like I've also got like I remade the Solo Speeder, but in red and white.
Oh,
And it's got like a few little extra pieces and stuff, but I find that is a really nice, easy way to get into building your own things. And I think it's a really good way to learn how to bricklink. It's like you have the instruction manual in front of you, you can go through it and make your order. I think it's a really good, like a dummy's guide to bricklink as well. It's just starting small like that.
Mm.
I think a lot of people struggle with bricklink the first time.
Oh yeah.
Remember, is if you get it wrong, you just start again. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
Iterate. Just play. Put
Just
some
play,
bricks on the
and-
table and just sit there and just put pieces together, work out shapes, or just see how things go together in not standard ways. So get brackets, get clips, get bars, and just click things together and just muck around with them and make different shapes, and eventually things start coming together. The other thing with mocking as well, when my advice when starting out, my biggest issue personally was I used to hate mocking when I didn't have the right colored bricks. So I have to mock using the correct color. And it's like I had to really change my mindset to build things that weren't necessarily the right color, but get the right thing going, and then look at getting the right color bricks via Bricklink later on. And that's a bit of a mental hurdle, because to me it's not done. It doesn't look right, but it still functions the same if you've got a red one of these instead of a black one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really tough to get past though.
It is
I look
tough.
at that.
It's very tough.
It's like it needs a conscious effort to put a piece when you know it's the wrong color.
It's super tough.
The giant pink hull piece on my boat there, because I cannot currently find the middle hull piece in white. So it's this one bright pink piece.
Unless Amy's made something and then you swap one of the pieces for the wrong color, that's actually really fun.
And here's Amy just thinking. It was for kids. No.
Adam actually does that to our 6-year-old, and he has got no patience.
Wow.
But he knows as well. Like sometimes I think, I really need one of these in orange. And I look over and he's made something. And he made it like a month ago. Never even looked at it since. And I think, you know what? I'll swap this orange one for a red. He won't notice. And then like 2 seconds later, he walks into the room, like the big room, and he'll just walk in and go, that's the wrong piece. And he'll go over, he'll take it, he'll walk right over to me because he knows that I've done it, swap it back, and then walk off again. He's a monster.
That is funny. That is funny.
I'm going to excuse myself for a moment. I might come back. I might not.
Okay.
Bye. Talk about me now.
Yeah, well, we're going to wrap it up soon, because I did say maximum 2 hours. I can't believe all the time's gone already. But
it's just because I have a 6-year-old who's still up thinking this is the greatest night of your life. Still awake with a phone, and it's, parenting at its finest.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
Before she goes online.
she's
And
made
order
several friends.
shoes
They're fine.
from Turkey.
If you could change one
on
thing
a
about the
train.
experience, what would you change?
I've heard that you need triangles and bridges. So that's probably my one.
I've got one. So Emily and I worked out really, and we did manage to change it, but we worked out we work way better together than separating out the jobs. Like we work better like just working. And so if I could change my experience, I'm just going to say it would be the bridge. Because you didn't see behind the scenes of us having a robust discussion.
It was Ice Queen versus Fire Monster. No one's going to win.
So yeah, my experience would be that we would work to our strengths and not go, I know, let's just do it, not how we are good at. So
it's really tricky finding a balance between playing to your own strengths and playing to the judge. If you know what I mean? Because we had an idea in our heads pretty early on about the kind of stuff that Robin liked. But it wasn't the kind of stuff that we were good at doing. So you've kind of got two very different directions, and you've got to find a balance.
Yeah. And there's things that you want to do. You know, I'd always wanted to build the little statues and do the little white things and do the, you know, they cut all my discussion on different types of columns. You know, and you're just like, you know, I wanted it to be all, you know, perfect.
She did have a big piece about
I wanted to have a mini
Corinthian column.
Corinthians.
Corinthian.
Yeah.
Not
Is that what it's called?
So Corinthian, Doric, and Ionic. I went with Corinthian, but you know,
sorry. What?
So why did you go with Corinthian over Doric?
Oh, I would have been Ionic all the way.
No.
Classic. Emily. I don't know. In some ways, I want to say that I wouldn't have you know, I'd have worn something slightly more practical.
Yeah.
Rather than having to sort of sit in the brick room with hundreds of petticoats, although coming back to the sound guy, having lots of petticoats and underlayers was quite good.
You had that problem too, didn't you, Jake? All the petticoats.
All the petticoats.
No. Just the length of my shirt. Sometimes they're seeing a little bit too much the pack. I think we saw that in the last episode when we were having our pun off, Dan. It was Mike on full display.
It was funny. I was talking to Jono about that yesterday. And it was like, so bit of backstory here. Jono dropped puns day in, day out constantly, and it annoyed the shit out of me. It really did. And like, he knows it. It just like there was times. There was just times just like, oh, just can it with the puns, man, and it just made him worse. And then and I posted the pic this week because Les made him a coffee and it had punny guy on it, and like so Jono's just keeps dropping these puns. And the one with Dolly the sheep, he was like all these puns all over it. And I said to him, how did you feel about the fact that they actually didn't set you up to be the pun master? Everyone else was dropping puns and you didn't even get one in. And he was like, oh yeah, no, I was a little bit pissed about that, but you know,
that's a great job.
It was actually quite funny. I was like, out of everyone with the puns, and it's between me and Glenn and Jake and Di, and Jono's standing there because he must have dropped about 20 puns on that day. About the rail track stuff.
I thought that was going to be a running gag for the episode.
Yeah, me too. They could have easily set it up in the previous episode, but no, he didn't even get one in. So the only one that he got in was on episode 3, where he came back to the table saying, "Oh, I've got my emotional baggage," but he'd already put that in as a suggestion, and as an idea of like, should we build emotional baggage? And I'm like, no, mate, it's a bit dark. But yeah, the pun battle was funny, and yeah, it was. Oh god, it was infuriating though. Really infuriating. If I could change one thing about the show, I mean, one thing about my experience, it would be a different partner.
If I could change one thing, it would be
joking.
not to workmates that I was on it, because I've got so much shit from them since I got back.
What was that, Glenn? You're breaking up.
I'm just saying, if I could change one thing, it would be not telling my workmates that I was on the show, because since I got back, they've given me so much shit, it's not funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice stuff, though, isn't it?
Apparently, I'm not a local celebrity, Glenn Knight.
Oh, yeah, you are. You are.
That's 100% accurate.
Anyway, I'm joking about changing my partner. I wouldn't change it for anybody. I couldn't have done it with anyone else but Jono. He's the only one that gets me enough. And otherwise, yeah, we're like, even though we almost killed each other a couple of times, we still got over it and we still talk every day. But if I could change one thing, I think with hindsight, it would have been better to be able to manage myself better. There was things that I couldn't manage with my own mental health game, and that I really struggled with, which, and I think for me personally, one of the biggest things was I found it really, really difficult at the beginning of every episode that I was involved with about the creativity, just, the whole fight or flight mechanism. I kept going into flight, and I don't know why, and I couldn't stop it. And that really killed the creative vibe. So that's why it sort of took us a bit of time to get into the groove of building. And yeah, I wish I'd prepared better for that. Crickets.
No, I understand. And I think Emily, you'd probably agree with me as well, in that we didn't know how full on and intense it would be. I think we had in our head that we'd go and do some nice builds and it would be fun, and this would be a breakaway from the family. Love you, family. And this would just be our chance to, and I think, and we didn't take into thought about COVID and those sort of other things that meant that, you were literally in the studio filming, it was full on, it was intense, and then you were under house arrest basically. And so there was those things that expect the unexpected. Well, there was that sort of element of it that we did not feel.
COVID.
Sorry, Amy. Sorry about that.
Not COVID, yeah. I've been testing every day. I'm good.
Does that sound good to anyone?
Try again tomorrow morning.
No, and what you're not seeing is the sort of support that the other team member has to give you outside of the studio. So it's not just those hours that you're building. It's days and days and days of constantly, what are we going to do? Trying to support you, making sure that you're fed, making sure that you're, watching something age appropriate on TV. All just constantly trying to get to the next day.
Shush! There was a story about that because they were watching the show, and it just happened to be something on that was very inappropriate for Georgie's eyes, and she just happened to walk past just when we were watching it, and I think she saw us in a different light after that.
Poor Georgie.
Don't go into detail.
Poor Georgie.
Cat lizard.
It's a good question. I feel like everybody's been portrayed really well, to be honest, myself included, given that I gave them plenty of opportunity to cast villain. But as far as the cutting room floor goes, look, there's hundreds and hundreds of hours of stuff that ends up on the floor. And to be fair, they could have made 2-hour-long episodes. They could have made 3-hour-long episodes. There was enough footage, and it would have been great. I would have loved to have seen more inside of the building stuff going on, but there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, to really kind of unpack the creative process, because you only get a kind of little snapshots of it on the show, and it's because there's just not enough time. But I think, I don't know, I'd find that interesting, seeing like more detail of what all you guys were up to and all the stages that you went through to get to where you got to, and
really
the techniques as well.
More of that, and also more hero shots would have been awesome.
Definitely more lingering on the hero shots for sure.
Yeah, that's frustrating when you put a lot of work into little details and then they just don't show bits. So.
That first episode, there was so much detail that just was not seen on camera because they didn't show it.
And aside from that, like the lack of consistency with professional photography, I think they should have had professional photography for every episode.
Yeah, that was weird.
Anyway.
Yeah. I have to say, the weird thing that we had from a few people, Emily, is they were like, "Oh, you're just so calm the whole time." And we're like, "No, we were not calm. We were the opposite of calm." That's just clever editing, I have to say.
That's clever editing. I think they put us in a very nice light. I think they've been very kind to us
so far. Don't know what's going to happen next. Expect the unexpected.
All right. Last couple of questions, and then we'll wrap up for the night. Any regrets?
Not stealing anything from the brick pit.
Yeah.
Repurposing, rehoming is probably that's the term we're going to use.
I would have rehomed a lot.
Yeah,
not reinforcing the one of the strut joins in my bridge with
I think we all have
5 long stopper axle with some bushes on it would have made a world of difference.
I have one regret: 28 kgs.
Yeah, I told you that on the day. You should have just gone 21. You would have nailed it. But thanks for not. I appreciate it.
When you see the train, you're just like, wow.
We were gonna.
Yeah.
And Amy and Adamville and Amyville.
I'm so glad you like that.
We love that one.
The bridge
watching like
it was fine.
I think my only regret was when we got 8 of those Mexican taco things each one night.
Oh. Well, you've got Uber Eats regrets.
Yeah.
More filling than I thought.
Yeah, I'm just glad you had your own bathroom. That's all I'm glad. I'm so glad you had your own bathroom.
Only regret doesn't actually involve myself. I think my only regret is that from a production standpoint, it would have been really fun to have stayed on in a professional capacity, like help out with the brick sorting or running around as a lackey, like something like that would have been really fun to have done, I feel. That's the only thing. I mean, it's not really a regret, it's more of a wish.
I think anybody would have been willing to stay and just sort bricks, right? And just watch from behind the scenes. And they probably could have paid us less than they paid the brick sorters to do that.
I mean, I've already taken all the time off work anyway, so,
Exactly. Yeah, everybody's like blocked out these 6 weeks. So,
I don't think any regrets, really. Just
I wonder if they wouldn't have done that though, because of like a fear of conflict, like, where's your loyalty? Is your loyalty going to be to the job, or is it going to be to a team that you favor or whatever? So I can understand why they wouldn't do that. My only regret is in the last couple of hours of episode 2, we second guessed ourselves about where the ball was going to hit, and we had measured the height that it was going to hit through the top of Dolly's head and right into Kevin's gut. And we second guessed ourselves and added 2 inches of height. And of course, the ball hit exactly 2 inches lower than where we wanted it to hit. So, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Can't change it. So, I definitely don't regret doing it. No matter, even though it was super hard for me at points, and there was times where I wanted to be at home, I didn't want to go home, and I don't regret doing it at all. Even the stress and the everything, the friendships the camaraderie, the end result, everything was worth it, and I'd do it all again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
absolutely.
In a second, I loved it, and it doesn't always come across because they want to get that stress on TV. But I would do that again in a heartbeat. I loved it so much. Emily,
Yeah.
what about you?
Yeah, this is quite a good question. The last part of this. Did you ever have any moments where it wasn't fun? Yeah, lots. There were lots of moments where it wasn't fun.
Days
It was stressful. Yeah, it was stressful. There were long days. It was hard coming up with ideas. The minute you drop something and you got 4 camera guys in your face, you got people asking silly questions when you're like right in the crux of doing something tough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Low moments, but
Coming up to you and going, so can you guys have a discussion about what this means to you?
Yeah.
yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. But in saying that, like there was moments where it wasn't fun because it was so difficult, but I think it was the difficulty as well that when you achieved it, it made it all worthwhile. And there's nothing that in the best times is probably when you get to that 3, 2, 1 countdown and they say, right, that's it, hands off, because at that point you can't do anything else. So you've got to just accept what you've got. And the relief just disappears.
I
It's
found
amazing.
with those final moments when the builds were done, wasn't it until we walked away and come back and looked at it again that we realised what we'd done? Because up until that point, all we could see was the things that we hadn't done or got wrong. And until you come back and actually appreciate the build, you don't see it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, there are some times where you're finished and then you think, oh man, that's really awesome. And then you look up and you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, we had a few of those.
Oh, I'm going to sit back down now. But, everyone here and everyone that was there is just so talented in their own right. And everybody came at it with a different skill set and a different set of ideas. And, I am actually really enjoying watching it playing out on TV. It's hard to watch, but that's my own personal thing. And yeah, like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. You guys are a bunch of amazing people, and I'd do it all again in a minute, in a heartbeat.
I really still find it funny that they decided to display me and Di talking about the color of my shirt over of the old content or shots.
That was weird. That's when Di talks and we're like, what?
All of the hundreds of hours of footage, and we had to hear about the cooked salmon colored shirt. It was pretty good though. It was pretty good, not gonna lie.
Nice shirt. It was a nice shirt.
He did like it. He did like it.
Indeed. Andy, are you streaming proper or are you testing? Because I'm just looking for a raid target. Anyway, so we're going to finish it up there. So for everybody on the panel, just to hang out for just hang out for a second. You don't have to dip out yet because we can have a chat post show. But for everyone that was that's watching, thank you so much for coming in and checking out the stream. I am planning on doing a regular Thursday night with open invitation to cast, and I'm going to open it up to some of the crew and hopefully get Robin and Di on in the next few weeks as well. And there's definitely cast that I want to get, crew, that I want to get on here as well. So yeah, always going to be an open invitation for you guys. You're welcome back anytime. As the show progresses, I'm sure there will be a bunch more talking points that we want to get out there and chat to you about. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hey. Yorgi's on.
Thanks for
not on
us.
mine. He's not. Okay, I can do this manually though. All right, this is where it gets awkward because normally on my normal stream I'd just drop a ending screen, but Ah, crap. Can you like copy? Yeah, I know, right? This is like the real awkward part. Feel free to keep talking. Can you shout him out or something for me, Andy, so I can get his username proper?
So who's got the Wellington brick show?
Me. Jake.
I'm going down for a visit. I'm not displaying.
Make sure you get lots of photos for us.
We will.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Sounds like
Who are we
everyone's going.
raiding? We're raiding you. I'll tell you what. I'm just going to raid Amish. It's easy because he's there. Okay.
It's like another language that I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
understand.
understand.
Words.
Raiding someone.
Rating, yeah, I'll explain later.
You can translate for us